Officers and men of the Nigerian police, along with dignitaries and well-wishers, earlier today converged at the Eagle Square in Abuja to commemorate the maiden National Police Day, an initiative of President Bola Tinubu. The event focuses on honoring fallen officers who made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty, as well as the brave men and women of the force who selflessly serve the nation, protect the communities, and uphold the rule of law. And the event described by Vice President Kashim Shettima as a recognition of the sacrifices and commitment demonstrated daily by officers across the country also focuses on strengthening police-community relations and enhancing public trust in law enforcement. This is being achieved through humanitarian and community-focused activities, including medical outreaches, community engagements, and exhibitions by security agencies and partner organizations. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun has reaffirmed the force's commitment to professional excellence and public service and urges Nigerians to celebrate and appreciate the Nigerian police and their invaluable contributions to national security. The National Police Day and appreciating the Nigerian police will be our focus on the program. Thanks for joining us. I'm Victoria Clinton. Now with me in the studio for the conversation is Dr. Habila Joshak. He's a former Deputy Inspector General of Police. Glad to have you on Nigeria today.
Thank you for having me.
And also joining us via Zoom is Jide Ojo. He's a public affairs analyst. Jide, thanks for joining us once again on Nigeria Today.
Happy New Week, Victoria. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, Jide. I'll start with you, Jide. Having listened, attentively to the introduction, we're having it is a maiden edition of the National Police Day. So, why do you think it's important to have, a day for the Nigerian police? And of course, how do you think it will help in improving the image of the police force?
Thank you. I think it's a welcome development to have a day set aside to evaluate the performances of Nigerian police, to encourage them, to listen to their cries, to applaud their achievements, and to meet their challenges. Almost every aspect of human life has a day set aside for it by the United Nations. I don't know why there is no day set aside globally for the Nigerian police, for the policing, world policing system. We know we do have the Interpol, International Police. But whether there is one at the UN level or not, I think this having a day set aside to celebrate, to evaluate, to understand the challenges Nigerian police is facing is a worthwhile and well thought through notion. As a Nigerian who have lived all my life in this country, I know the Nigerian police system has come a long way. Depending on where you want to benchmark it, whether the pre-colonial or the colonial or the post-colonial period. But we do know that even in pre-colonial times, we have the policing system in place, which is supervised by the traditional rulers. And when the British colonialists came over 100 years ago, they introduced a more modern policing system. And from that time, we have the Nigerian police. While it may be true that a lot more could be done to guarantee security and welfare of citizens, we must understand that the Nigerian police have been working within a system that is suboptimal. They face a lot of challenges. They are poorly funded. And I don't even understand why many Nigerians still choose to join the Nigerian police, because the pay is so poor that ordinarily, if you wanted to be rich, you should not even bother going to the Nigerian police. And because it's a work that carries a lot of risk. It's like the day you sign up to be a member of Nigerian police, you sign your death warrant, because duty calls 24/7. Even when you are supposed to be on leave, you could be summoned for national assignment. Many Nigerian police officers and men really enjoy family lives because they are perpetually being deployed from one state to the other. While they are settling down in one place, they could be deployed or, what's it called, transferred. So they are almost always on the move, and the family is left in the care of their wives, who happens to play the role of both the father and the mother. And we need to appreciate them for this sacrifice. While you and I may be sleeping in our homes, they keep vigil to keep us safe. Like I said, they are not where they ought to be in terms of what the international policing system should be. But we cannot say we are where we used to be, because the Nigerian police system is one of the most reformed institutions. In fact, I should say that the last administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari did a lot for Nigerian police, from the amendment of the Police Act 2020 to having the Police Equipment Trust Fund bill passed, and then setting up the Police Equipment Trust Fund, to increasing the salaries and allowances of members of the Nigerian police. All of these are part of the reform that has happened in the Nigerian police. We also have the former President Muhammadu Buhari, ordering that 10,000 constables should be recruited every year since 2016 or 2017. Unfortunately, the infighting between the Office of Inspector General of Police and the Police Service Commission has impacted negatively on this recruitment exercise. So much so that in the last three Inspector Generals have had a running battle with the Police Service Commission leadership on who has the right to recruit constables. And this has ended up in litigation up to Supreme Court.
To you, so that we'll talk about some of the issues you've raised. Thank you so much for that opening remark there. Now, Dr. Joshak, of course, Judy has mentioned some of the issues I would love us to talk about. Be that as it may, we still have to, mention them. I also want to have your own input on this National Police Day, a day that has been set aside for the police. And also, I would also want to, because Judy has mentioned that the police force, the Nigerian police, the men and officers have been working under suboptimal situations. So I would want you to highlight some of the biggest challenges confronting the Nigerian police.
Yes, there are a lot of things, but I want to say that it's a very welcome development to have the police day, where police officers, including the junior officers, have the opportunity to put forward some of their challenges. This opportunity we discussed, I learned that it's been a week. And so they've gone through a lot of things, trying to put them right, asking what the problems are for those of them that are deployed to the into the forest and what have you. The officers and men, the men themselves, that are the tools, are beginning to believe that the senior officers and others have been able to realize what contribution they're making for the security of this country. And so there was a lot of discussion and what have you, and they have the opportunity to talk with the most senior officers and then look at some of the gaps because in some cases, a lot of the officers, the junior officers, are capable of taking and executing some activities, but the logistic might not be there, and they may not be able to voice out. And that's why we're saying that this is the beginning of, locking the senior officers and the junior officers, including the citizens of the country, to be able to feel free to let the police know some of the things they're doing that is not pleasant to the state. And so this is a welcome policy that has been brought in, and that will also narrow the gap between the senior officers and the junior officers. And then the junior officers would also want to know what the problems of the citizen are, because they meet with them all the time. And so this, we saw people being invited, and we saw a lot of, it's been like 6 days, if I'm not mistaken, they've been on this. And so they've been able to look through the police, the senior officers, and the junior officers, and then try to explain to the citizen why they take some decision and why some decisions are not done, so that when the public has trust in the police, so a lot of things will happen, because they will be part of it, and there will be a lot of information that the police would not pick on the street will come to them. So today, it's a very welcome development that we will see a change in some of the way the people look at the police and the way the police will treat the citizen. I think that there will be a gap that will almost be knocked together.
Okay, before I go back to Jide, let me ask, what does it really mean to you, seeing this day, that officers and men are being appreciated for the sacrifices, they are making to their country, having been there, having served, and now you're on the other side.
Yes.
Watching. So what does it really mean to you?
What has happened with this new innovation is an encouragement for the junior officers who are deployed everywhere. They're found everywhere. They will now know that their importance in the community and in this country. And they also have opportunity also, like I learned they've been on this for like 1 week. They've been able to cross fertilization. They talk with the senior officers. The gap between the officers and the men could be very, very wide. And so given assignment, and most of the junior officers are those that are deployed out there to meet the citizen. And if they are not encouraged, and some of the things they desire to have to be able to do that are not given to them, they may not have the dust, the audacity to voice out and work and fight for what they want to have, what they would have to be able to work. They just go, because they can't talk to the officers. But with this, there will be some cross-fertilization of ideas. The gap between the officers and the men will be close. And therefore, the officers also must make sure that the men that are deployed to wherever they are have the required things that will make them work well. And so insecurity and a lot of these things that people are talking about will be a thing of the past.
Okay. Now, back to you, Jide. From your own end, as will I say, as a civilian now, as a civilian, what are some of the major achievements you would say that the Nigerian police force has recorded, in recent years, when you compare, the force compare it to what it used to be in the past, comparing it to this recent time?
Okay, so part of what I will commend the Nigerian police for is the innovations they have brought to policing. Now it's technology-driven Nigerian police. They now use helicopters, they now use drones, they now use CCTV, they now use scanners. They now, they've been able to infuse technology in their deployment and in their as part of their training and part of their deployment to fighting insecurity. You recall that 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 years ago, there was nothing like drones. There was nothing like computerization of the policing system, even in issues around fingerprint analysis and all of that. Forensic laboratories just had preliminary equipment. But today you have highly sophisticated technology solutions in terms of forensic laboratory, drones, scanners, jammers, and other communication gadgets, even communication gadgets that they can now use in terms of intelligence gathering and in terms of fighting crimes. Now, Nigerian police has a subsidiary that has to do with cybercrime, a whole department dealing with cybercrime issues. And so it has grown. You also must understand that it's from the Nigerian police, you have organizations like NCDC, Nigeria Civil Defense carved out. It's from the Nigerian police that you have the Federal Road Safety Commission carved out. It's from the Nigerian police you have the EFCC and ICPC carved out. So they have given birth to these children, quote and unquote, even though many of us see it as balkanization of the Nigerian police system, because, you know, there is a fraud unit in the fraud department, anti-fraud department in Nigerian police. So it is that anti-fraud department now that has been scaled up in the formation of EFCC. And you now see that even for the last, for the last two chairmen of EFCC, that's Bawa. Is it Bawa that was there before the Olukoyede that is there now? All the former ones from New Ribadu to Magu, to Lamode, to Farida Waziri, they were all members of the Nigerian police. And most of the personnel of EFCC up to like 5 years ago were largely drawn from the Nigerian police. So a lot has happened to Nigerian policing system. They've been able to work out innovative ideas. Crime fighting, intelligence gathering has now gone sophisticated. Even the criminal investigation department of the Nigerian police are now operating more efficiently and covertly, unlike in time past, because now you have very sophisticated gadgets through which you can collect intelligence. Even wristwatch, ball pen, pen that we used to write could be used to gather intelligence, to record crime scene. A lot has happened, and Nigeria has been able to key into it. And when you also look at our relationship with Interpol, I think the last, one of the very top-ranking Interpol leaders was from Nigeria, who finished his tenure just last year, a member of Nigerian police who was holding very high position at the level of Interpol. So we have achieved a lot, even in terms of peace mission. Nigerian police have been able to contribute meaningfully to keeping to peacekeeping mission in several countries, from Sierra Leone to Congo DR to Somalia to Sudan to Liberia. They have been there on the global peacekeeping mission, and they have performed excellently well. Many of their personnel have come back home with medal on this peacekeeping mission. So.
Thank you very much, Jide. Well, we might come back to you later, but let's Dr. Joshak also talk to us. Of course, Jide has mentioned quite a lot of things that a lot of improvement that have been recorded by Nigerian police force, and of course how it has evolved over the years. Now, talk to us. How can citizens better support the Nigerian police force in their effort, to maintain peace and security?
Yes, for us to have a lot of things that will throw out crime and criminality in this country is that the citizen should learn to trust the police. The citizen must say something if there's something, because it's not possible to have a big space where we have policemen deployed everywhere. And in countries where you see a lot of successes, is that the citizen must be very, very also proactive and have an eagle eye to get to the police in the event of observing a crime being committed. And in that case, sometimes they will tell you, we won't say that, because if we tell the police are going to go and reveal that and then point at us. And then the criminals will run after us and sometimes take our lives. And so I think with all of these new changes, we expect a situation where the citizen of this country must create trust in the police that we now have. And that's why you could see that there's a lot of seminar. We could see also that there's some improvement in some equipment. And then the IG of today, have extended a lot of training that gets to almost everywhere. And so every person is being sensitized to know that it is not as usual, and we must go with the modern, and we should be able to look at all of this. And that's why the international police community knows everywhere that you go, whether it's this and that, there are 1 or 2 police officers involved. We have a lot of officers here who are leading African police and beyond African police because of what they've shown. And so we're getting there. And we continue to appeal to the government that security apparatus and making good security in any country, particularly here in Nigeria, you have to spend quite a lot of money. And sometimes, the budget are not enough. And that's why sometimes some of the things that we require to have. But as of now, there are a lot of, there are some improvement, because if you go to the command here, you will see the new commissioner of police have displayed equipment that at a touch, these vehicles will be able to run up a large portion of the country, of the state, or of Abuja.
Okay.
By deploying them.
Okay. Now,
yes.
Jide, in 30 seconds, Dr. Josh Ake has mentioned that the citizens must trust the police. Now, what other improvements would you want to see in the Nigerian police force to enable the citizens better, appreciate and trust the police? Okay. So, Dr. Joshua, I wanted to say something about it, just in 30 seconds. In 30 seconds, what improvement do you think, that on your part, that you should do, have that will make the citizens trust you,
yes,
and appreciate you?
Some of the training institutions now have good syllabus and what they take them through, and in no time we're likely to see a very, 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 very robust police officers who also have known what is happening in other nations, where you have to be very polite with the citizen and stand for the citizen, and do not do illegal things, in the sense that you just create some other things and then and then allow and make the citizen believe that these are laws. And so what I'm saying is Nigerians should trust the police.
Thank you.
and work with us.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Well, this is where we draw the curtain on today's episode of Nigeria Today. A very big thank you to Dr. Bela Joshua, who's a former Deputy Inspector General of Police. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And also we had Jide Ojo that joined us via Zoom. He's a public affairs analyst. Jide, thank you so much for joining us on the program. And thank you for being part of the program. Clinton. Goodbye.